Today, we're taking a painful look at the top 5 most disappointing figures in my collection. Oh, this is gonna hurt. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Justin Collects. And like I said, it's gonna be a painful one, going over the top 5 most disappointing figures in my collection to date. So my criteria for this video was that the figure is still in my collection, and based on like the high hopes I had, foolishly in most of these cases, the high hopes I had for the figure individually, and just how bad, in my opinion, it turned out. So we're gonna go from, I guess, best to absolute worst. So starting at number 5. So coming in at number 5, and I do like this figure, and I'm glad that we were able to finish out the legendary beasts from Pokemon, is Entei from the Jazzwares Pokemon Select Trainer Team Target Exclusive Series, super highly articulated line. They've changed the name a couple times, it's Target exclusive now, but it's a super articulated line, and they all scale decently well together. Some of them are a little wonky, and Entei was the last of the legendary beasts they needed to do. They're legendary dogs with Suicune and Raikou, and Entei looks amazing. This figure looks awesome. I'm glad to have it, have the 3 legendary dogs. But this one's on my list at number 5 solely because the articulation is just really bad. There's so much more they could have done with this. If you look at like what Hasbro's doing with the G.I. Joe line animals and that Zabu Build-A-Figure, which I still don't have mine, by the way. Still haven't been able to finish that. I've got it all ordered. Anyway, seeing what other companies are doing with animal or anthropomorphic figures right now just really makes this one sting even more. The head doesn't do anything. This is a tough plastic, so it's heavy. The legs just, it's just really hindered. That being said, beautiful figure, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. So, anyway, Entei from Jazzwares Pokemon Select Trainer Team Series Target Exclusive Super Articulated line. Yeah, it's a long name. So coming in at number 4, and I am glad to have this figure in my collection, but is the Legacy Collection Marvel Legends Black Widow, the MCU Black Widow. So this is the re-release. She does have good double jointed pinless arms, but they really missed the mark on this. Comes with 2 head sculpts to represent the way she looks in a couple of the different movies, and to me those are good. They hit. Some people complain about the forehead. I'm okay with it. I think they are good. Scarlett Johansson head sculpts. Updated arms, great. But then after that, it's all pretty much downhill. The articulation, they really could have just put it on a brand new buck. You just don't get much of anything, and it's the same jelly-legged, pinned, double-jointed knees. The feet where she doesn't want to stand, you can see I've got her on a stand right here, and sometimes that doesn't even keep her up. I can't remember if she came with these guns or not. I can't quite remember. She might have, but she's got molded guns right here for absolutely no reason. This figure was so close if they would have just done an updated sculpt, because let's be honest, you can reuse an MCU updated Black Widow sculpt, give her all kinds of different looks, different releases and everything. They would have really been able to get their money's worth, but I feel like Hasbro really cheaped out on this one. That being said, it is your best option for MCU Black Widow in Marvel Legends, and it's a good representation, but it's disappointing to see them go back on stuff and redo it and still miss the mark on giving us properly updated figures. So, number 4, Marvel Legends MCU Legacy Collection Black Widow. And coming in at number 3, we're actually going to stay with Marvel Legends and go with the MCU Kingpin from the Hawkeye series. So this is from the Hawkeye series, but I think everyone mainly was picking him up to go with your Marvel Legends, Netflix Daredevil, and Punisher. That's where I've got mine on the shelf. So it's awesome to have that Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin representation, and the head sculpt's good. It's good. Suit looks good and everything, but this guy's way too small. This is so disappointing. You should have made this guy so much bigger. Look at just next to Black Widow. He should be towering over her, and he's not. Just, hold on. Here he is next to the Netflix Daredevil. They're the same size. They should not be the same size. You don't have to make him like comic Kingpin big, because he wasn't that much bigger in the show, but he was a bigger guy. And you really... Black Widow just fell over. He really just... He should have been bigger. Hasbro really missed the mark. I was excited about this figure, which is the only reason I even still have him on the shelf. I've gotten rid of a lot of my post-Endgame Marvel Legends, MCU Marvel Legends here lately. I'm keeping this guy for now. I'm hoping for a re-release at some point. Maybe if Kingpin stays in the zeitgeist in the MCU, we'll get one eventually. But until then, the Marvel Legends MCU Kingpin is sitting at number 3. My most disappointing figures in my collection. Now, this one hurts really bad. Coming in at number 2 is the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Dino Thunder Black Ranger. I don't know if you can tell me just shaking him right here, see his head moving? The legs. I was so excited for this figure. I grew up in the 90s, so really the last Power Rangers show I watched was, I didn't even finish Lost Galaxy. So I watched All Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Turbo, In Space, and the beginning Lost Galaxy. Before I fell out, I just aged out of it. As an adult, though, I went back and watched SPD and Dino Thunder, and I liked them both. I heard good things. And this is Jason David Frank, the Power Rangers universe. And this is Jason David Frank, who played Tommy Oliver in the Power Rangers universe and was just a constant reoccurring character. Original Green Ranger, White Ranger, went on to be Zeo Red, Turbo Red, before kind of retiring, and then came back as Dino Thunder Blue as like the mentor of that season. But you're not here for Power Rangers history. But this figure, the Tommy Oliver head sculpt, the Jason David Frank head sculpt that came with it is good. It's like a short hair, goatee, facial hair. And so that one's good. The accessories are fine. But this figure's just a piece of crap. At least mine is. It's just loose. The knees are just gummy. Of course, they're pinned when, by this point, Lightning Collection was doing pinless technology. This was one of the later figures they did before they ended the line. The head's loose. The arms are loose. I'm dropping it. The head's loose. The butterfly joints are loose. The legs are just awful. And it's hard to get him to stand up to even pose around, and I'm just not happy with it. I'm keeping it in my collection because I've got the Dino Thunder team finished, and I love Power Rangers, but man, this figure was very disappointing because, you want to have all the different versions of Tommy Oliver, and this thing is just crappy. Very disappointed. It's not a good way for Hasbro to close out the Lightning Collection. I feel like they're near the end. The quality control and the care for the line just seem to not be there. Sadly, I'm sure some people cared, but man, you could tell they were just kind of giving up on the line. So, number 2, Lightning Collection, Dino Thunder Black Ranger. Every time I look at this figure, it just makes me sad. Alright, so before I give my number 1 most disappointing figure in my collection, let me know in the comments, what is the one figure you got in hand that you were most disappointed in just like how it turned out. You were looking forward to it, and you got it, and you were just not about it. Whether you kept it or not, just let me know down in the comments. But my number one is the McFarlane DC Multiverse OG Wonder Woman. This thing was so hard to get, and I was so excited about it. I told myself I was going to stay away from McFarlane, but I got Nightfall Batman in my hand. I really liked it, and I ended up building out my Justice League. And my mind's eye of my Justice League, pretty cheap with McFarlane. Nice representation on the shelf, right? This thing came out. I had 2 different pre-orders. They both ended up getting canceled. This thing was a nightmare to get hold of. Somebody finally helped me get it. I got it out of box, and y'all, I just don't like it. The head sculpt's good, but besides that, just I don't know. There's just so many things. The lasso should have been some type of bendy wire or something. It's just string. It's just cheap string. The gold isn't on the weapons. So the axe with the sword and the shield, and just the gold color is kind of mustardy. The knees are just bad. And see, the lasso just fell off. I'm just not happy. Stand fell off the foot because I have to have her on a stand for her to stand up. She looks good. She looks good next to the rest of the Justice League. Maybe a tad tall, but that's McFarlane for you. This ugliest butterfly joints. Her weapons don't stay in the hand either. Oh, whole hand fell off. I was just extremely disappointed with this figure because it took me so long to get her in hand. Look at that butterfly joint. That piece of plastic's not big enough where it just exposes a big gap there. Of course, because the hair's pretty pliable, decently, but of course, you can't even get her head to really move. I was so excited about this. This hand keeps popping off. I was so excited about this figure to finish out kind of my mind's eye of my Justice League on my shelf. And honestly, I'm so disappointed by it. Yeah, look at this bicep swivel. I did a review on this, and so just you can go look at that for me to pick the figure apart. I tried to be nice in it, but not a fan. I'm probably going to end up getting rid of all my McFarlane stuff except Captain Carrot and the Batman movie figures. The Batman Forever wave that's coming out. No, Batman Forever, and I've got the Batman and Robin figures. So I'm going to keep the movie figures because I like those, but I'm probably honestly going to get rid of this. Just very disappointed. Shame, Todd. So guys, I'm sorry to be so negative. I promise I've got more positive videos coming. I'm going to work on the top 5 favorite figures in my collection next. Going to boost up that positivity. But, I mean, you got to take the good with the bad. And bad comes along, and you just have to recognize it's a bad figure. But sometimes you still need that representation in your collection. But it is what it is. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Go ahead and check out more content on the channel. And until next time, I appreciate you guys.